Okay, so welcome to another edition of Tutorials by Design by Cameron. In this tutorial you guys are going to be learning about how to set up reference planes. But first, before we can begin, it is a good idea to understand how these reference planes are used and what their entire intent is for. In modeling, it is always a good idea to have a reference to a real life object. Usually using blueprints is the best idea. The website that I always recommend, which if you follow me here, is the-blueprints.com. And here you can see that there is a wide assortment of blueprints. So I'm going to go ahead, always make a username and password. The reason being is that if you for some reason need a high resolution image for your blueprint, you cannot get them most of the time. Some of the times you can. Most of the time it is best to create a user and a password. You can do so right up here. I'm going to go ahead and pause this and log in. Okay, so I am back now, and I'm just going to go here and I'm just going to pick an object that I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick a car. Cars are always fun to do. Let's see here. I'm going to do a Chevy. Good old American car. Go. And I'm just going to pick up real quick a Bel Air sedan. Now you can notice here that the size is 1741 by 917. It has top, left side, front, and back. This is a perfect image to use, and all these images are mostly free. And here we go. Here's our image. It's displayed at 43%. Click the little plus sign, and you're going to get a larger image. Now I use a download tool. You can go and get this from Firefox. I cannot recall what the tool is called. Let me see if I have it. That's not going to help me. Where's my tools? Tools. Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, so I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go to Adobe Photoshop. Now, if you don't have Adobe Photoshop or the desire to purchase Adobe Photoshop for $1,000, you can always use GIMP. GIMP is downloadable from the internet. Just Google it, GIMP. I use Photoshop because Photoshop is an important tool to have, and I'd always suggest it to people who are really interested in getting into this industry. So once I get into Photoshop, I'm going to hit File, New, and I'm going to hit OK. And now this is actually the full size that I need, and I'm going to hit Control V. Control V now pasted my car, and as you can see, it is perfect size and shape. Now I'm going to teach you a little trick here. The trick is that we only need half of our object. We don't need the full object. And you say, well, why do we only need half? Well, the reason why we only need half is because we're only going to model half the object anyway. Because the mirror tool, which I said back in one of my previous tutorials, will allow you to mirror the object over creating the whole vehicle. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this right here. I'm going to hit Control C, which copied it. Then I'm going to hit Control N, or I can just go File, New, and it's going to tell me the width and the height. It's already preset. Control V, boom, there it is. All right. Yes, I know I said boom. Anyway, so then I'm going to go to my side here, or I'll do my top first, and here's something to remember. When you're doing this, make sure that everything stays the same height and width. The reason for that is that if anything is off slightly, it will make your 3D modeling experience not very fun. So once again, using the marquee tool, I'm just going to select basically the top of the car, hit Control C, Control N to copy new, and Control V, there's my top. So now in one I have my top, basically my front and my back, and I'm going to go down here and I'm going to copy the rest of this one here, and I'm just going to hold the Shift key. The Shift key allows me to add. Looks like I got a little bit. And the Alt key allows me to minus. It's being a little bugger. One second. There we go. So now I have a perfect box. There's very important reasons to do this, so I'd always adhere to them. Control C to copy, Control N to paste, hit OK, Control V. Now, you don't really have to do this. The only reason why I do this is because it is more beneficial to you, the person who is using this program. The most primary reason to do it this way is because it's easier to add in individual images. I am going to show you how to do this without having to cut it up using Photoshop. So do be familiar with that. I will be showing you how to do that. So now I'm going to go to this one right here, and I'm going to grab this one right here, and I'm going to hit Control C, Control N, hit OK, Control V, and then I'm going to go back to that one. I'm going to slide this down all the way to the bottom, hit Control C, Control N, hit OK, Control V. Now everything is, you know, basically ready to go. Control Shift Alt S to save, and I'm going to save this. I would do it as a JPEG, and that's good. Hit save, and you want to choose your libraries, whatever setup you have, go with. And I have a 3D folder that I'm going to just create here, 3ds Max. I already have one. Hold on a second here. Here we go. And I'm going to hit New Folder, and this is going to be References. Be as organized as you can. That is always the best rule. And I'm going to say this is car, and I forgot which one it was. It is car underscore back. Sometimes you don't need a back, but hey, if you get it, keep it. Control Shift Alt S. That's save for web, by the way, if you weren't sure what it meant. Save car underscore front. Notice I'm using good naming conventions. Naming conventions are important. They play a very pivotal role, especially in the industry. Somebody's got to be able to recognize what your saving conventions are, and if they can't, then they're going to be as lost as they were without you. Always think of what if you got hit by a bus tomorrow, especially when working in this type of industry. You want people to be able to find their way around your files. Oops. See, that was a bad naming convention on my car top. There we go. And that's that. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this one. The reason why I'm going to save this one, I'm going to do Control Shift Alt S. The reason why I want to save this one again is because I'm going to show you how to use UV maps to set up your reference planes. Okay, and that wraps up this first portion of this tutorial. Continue in the next tutorial, and we're going to set up our planes.